Positive thinking, the great Morecambe and Wise. Now, listeners to the Sunday Bit in the Middle will know of my all-time love of my comedy heroes, Eric Morecambe and Ernie Wise. Of course, we still have the joy of re-watching all of those classic shows on the TV. But thanks to the remarkable talents of my two guests today, we now have the chance to witness, and I would genuinely describe as the closest thing to a live Morecambe and Wise performance you are ever likely to see. Welcome to the show, Jonty Stevens and Ian Ashpitel. Welcome, guys. Welcome, guys.
Hello. We've got to pay you a lot of money for that.
Absolutely, yes. Checks in the post. I know. Now, anyone who has witnessed yourselves as Eric and Ernie, obviously Ian playing the part of Ernie Wise and Jonty as Eric Morecambe, cannot be in any doubt that surely you two have seen the chemistry between you two. You must have put years into perfecting this show. Can you each perhaps give us a brief history of how you came together and how this remarkable recreation of this great comedy double act came about?
Well, we met at drama school 42 years ago. I was a mature student.
And I was an immature student.
Hey.
We've never done that gag before.
Never.
Jonty was in the third year above me. I was 27 years old. I went to drama school, so I was the first year. And we just hit it off as mates, literally straight away at parties and socialising at drama school. And then we sort of stayed in contact after that. Lots of people leave drama school and never see each other again, but we stayed in contact through the love of golf.
Golf.
And our friendship, and so we were mates of 42 years.
Really, before the partnership with
that's the
with
foundation.
Show.
Then one year we do a show at the golf club, and they asked Jonty to do Eric Morecambe,
yes.
and it was summer, wasn't it, Jonty? I believe.
Yeah. Well, we'd been in the summer, and Ian and I were playing in a 4-ball, and we were having a drink afterwards. And I looked across at the bar, and Ian was just getting himself a drink, and he got his shorts on. And I saw these two little short, fat, hairy legs just sticking out the shorts. And I said, Ian, I've been asked to do Eric, but I need an Ernie. Would you be an Ernie? And he said, what did you say?
I said, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I look more like Robert Redford than Ernie. But apparently I'm alone in that. Well, there you go. And that was a start. We did a 5-minute sketch for our mates at a golf club. And Jonty's so brilliant. He was brilliant then. And, so I was there for him, really. And it was okay. It went down quite well. And then
all right, yeah.
2 years later, they said, will you do it again? At another golf club. This time we wrote some material in the style of the boys. And I took it a little bit more seriously, I guess. And we rehearsed in the car park and we rehearsed on the golf course. And anyway, we did about 8 minutes, but ended up being 20. And we were left the stage and they said, come back. We came back and the whole place was on its feet. It was at that moment that Jonty and I thought, we might have something here. So that was the start of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the beginnings. And we had friends who were in the audience. It was Stage Golfing Society, which is actors and people in the business basically were there. And some quite well-respected actors were in there. Jimmy Bolam, Phil Glenister from Life on Mars, and a few other guys. And they just went, guy, you have to do something with this. You have to do something. So that's when we, as Ian said, took it seriously. And that's when Ernie arrived, really.
It was.
That's when Ernie was there. And he still is. I mean, as much as he likes to think he's Robert Redford, I'm sorry to say, he is Ernie Wise.
Exactly, yes.
But you do bear a remarkable resemblance to the guys themselves. I mean, surely it's not all makeup and smoke and mirrors, is it, on the night? I mean, even now, today looking at
I have to do, I push my hair to one side, but Jonty's, he's dedicated. He's lost his hair for the part.
That's dedication.
No, don't laugh.
That's dedication. No.
Yeah. I had a full head of hair before we decided to do this, and I pushed every follicle out. It's been quite painful over the years.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
And I was 6'3", but
And all the short, fat, hairy legs still.
They're very good. They're very good. Yes. I mean, still for £1 million each.
Now, my first encounter with you guys, I saw you quite a few more years than I care to remember now. It was at a place called Kilworth House, just down the road for us, toward Lutterworth, and that was his show called Eric and Little Ern, and that was more of a play where the show started with yourself, Ian, as Ern in his hospital bed. I think it was the final days of his life, and then the doctor came along in his whites and turned round and put those glasses on. It was Eric. You guys chatted and reminisced and said, "Shall we do it one more time? Let's do it." The hairs on the back of my neck, as they are now, just thinking about that moment.
Wow,
Eric and Ernie, and it was it was an absolutely wonderful moment. So how has that show developed since those early days?
A lot. You literally saw the embryo of the whole thing. It was we'd done a try at a theatre at the 503 in London, where we'd written 20 minutes of material. As you say, in the bed, Ernie was last hour of his life, and that was the vehicle for us to look at different parts of their lives. But what Jonty and I were interested in was their relationship, what made them tick as people, not just the comedians we love and see on stage and on television, but as people. So that's what the play was about. And then, and that was very early on. That's before we went to Edinburgh, wasn't it, Jonty?
Yes. Yeah, it was. It was. And then, as Ian said, we wanted to explore their friendship, their relationship as what made them tick. And then we took it to Edinburgh, and it just sort of exploded, really.
Yeah.
It was just, it was crazy, really, when we look back at it and go, wow, how did that happen? Because we had no idea, really, that it would go so well. So, but this, from there, obviously, we ended up going to the West End and we got Olivier nominated. Incredible. For two mates, best mates, as Ian always says, working class lads. Our first, debut in the West End as actors was there with our show. And, but this show is, as Ian said,
it's a spin-off, isn't it? This is a spin-off. But the play was the basis of everything. I think the time we wrote, it took us a year to write this play, to write Eric Little Ern. It developed, it rewrites and rewrites, and it developed, and it kind of took over our lives. And we got quite obsessed. We got quite obsessed with it, didn't we?
We were very obsessed to the point that our wives didn't want us to speak to each other, didn't they?
Yes.
Oh no.
and I booked a holiday to Cornwall, and Karen said, "Will Ernie be coming too? Or was it just Ian?" It got really bad, but that you kind of have to get like that to sort of get it done. Really, we did get real obsessed, and that is, I guess, the payoff for all that work is now. To be honest,
yes.
Unfortunately, I've got Ian as Ernie, but also Ian as the editor of everything, because I'm a bit of a, what do you call me, Ian?
No, I write, everything's in Jonty's head. There's lots of things going on in Jonty's head. And he actually is the world expert on Morecambe and Wise. You narrated a book, didn't you? But he's all the facts and figures. So you say, when were they at Thames Television? Well, they left Thames Television in 1966 and it was the 3rd of February, 2:30 p.m. And what happened was they had eggs for breakfast. I mean, literally, he's a world nutter.
Fortunately, Ian managed to edit it out. Otherwise, the play and the show would be about 15 hours long.
Easily, yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of history there, isn't there? There's the BBC days and the ITV Thames and everything. Yeah.
And it's all valid, and it's all part of. It's all gone into the pot.
Yeah.
And what's come out of the pot is we've mined the nuggets, and we've really looked at it and honed it, and it's been a labour of love, and the payoff really is. I mean, we did a show the other night at the Garrick Theatre in London, 700 people, and it was just joyous.
Yeah.
And what it is is the reaction of people. It's not just, we enjoyed the show, by the way. It's just like, oh my God, it took me back to being 10 years old with my dad.
Yeah.
And it's that emotional connection.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, and somebody said this the other night, he said it's just really, really funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is good, really.
That humour. Eric and
Ernst. That seems like an obvious thing to say. It's really funny because it's Morecambe and Wise. But actually, my God, it's really funny, and we need that kind of humour and comedy these days.
Oh, don't we just? I don't
Oh,
resist. Yeah, that humour, as you say, it's lasted the test of time so much. I still laugh out loud. I've seen every episode,
yeah,
every TV, Christmas special. I
yeah,
sat around with my mum and dad watching it as a kid, or as a amongst the 20 plus million viewers. And those sketches, I've seen them so many times. Yet I still watch. I still laugh out loud. I have tears running down my face.
yeah.
What do you put down? How did you put that timeless appeal down to?
I think,
What we've just been saying. It's funny, and
yeah,
funny. I was talking to somebody at the golf club the other day who grew up in she's Chinese, half Chinese, half British, and she grew up in Hong Kong, I think. So she missed the Morecambe Wise on TV, but she came to that show that night, and she was laughing her head off. She said, "I didn't know why I was laughing, but I was laughing my head off." And Morecambe Wise was new to her. And when we got in bed together, she leaned over to her husband and went, "Are they gay?" Well, no. This Morecambe, so he was there explaining the gags, and her friend, who grew up in Morecambe, was going, "Are you mad?" And what she said was really appropriate. She said, "That's the British sense of humour. What I watched tonight is the British sense of humour encapsulated in that show last night."
Yeah,
and I think that's what it is. It is that British sense of humour.
Fully agree. Yeah,
and I think what was exciting for us actually is as this show has gone from what we thought would be maybe a 5-week tour at a few venues to 12 or 13 odd years later, it's developed. And ironically, there are the die-hard Eric Ernie fans, but the audiences are getting younger.
Yeah. I was
going
to say that. I mean, my son, well, he was born before, since after Eric's sad death and Ernie's, I believe. Yeah, he still loves it. We both, quite often doing the old thing with the glasses and that. We find it hilarious. It's just, I suppose you are getting a whole new audience appreciating this, which is a wonderful thing, because otherwise, why should us slightly older people like myself have it all to ourselves?
But it is interesting that Morecambe has stood the test of time. A lot of comedy from the 70s and the 80s obviously doesn't, for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, sure.
But Morecambe, the writing of Eddie Braben and Hills and Green from before Eddie Braben, stands the test of time. And it's the writing is the key, I think. Yeah. Obviously, Eric and Ernie, the way they performed it. And like Jonty always says, the guests, you always say that it was never political and...
No, they were never political. They were never nasty. They were always... And actually, Gary Morecambe, Eric's son, always said, the thing with Eric and Ernie is they were always two middle-aged men in suits. From 60s, 70s, 80s, until 80s, sadly passed. But also, we've talked about it, and Ian said, and we've said, it's like Morecambe and Wise have got a bit of the Marilyn Monroe and James Dean effect. Because they didn't get terribly old, and we didn't see a demise of them. Because in 1984, suddenly Eric, only still here to 99, but Morecambe and Wise as a duo were left at their sort of just after their peak, I guess, but they were still right up there.
Yes, he was. Eric was 58, only 58.
Yeah, 58.
Unbelievable, really. You mentioned Gary. You've had the blessing of their families, haven't you, both Eric and Ernie's? Gary and Gail, and I think Eric's late wife, Joan.
Yeah.
Joan, we went to the funeral.
That must mean an awful lot to have their blessing.
Incredible.
A tremendous lot to both of us. Jonty's a super fan.
Yes.
And we had lunch. We were very lucky. We were invited to lunch with Joan and Gary at Harpenden, the house in Harpenden. Went out for lunch, went back to the house.
Yeah.
And there's BAFTAs and paintings all over the place, and it's Eric Morecambe and all over the place. And then Gary said, "Do you want to see Dad's old study?" So up we went, and he left us in there. He said, "I'll come back in 20 minutes." And it was just full of props and scripts and paper bags and pictures and
joke books, little joke books, little jokes that Eric's written in.
Yeah.
Lots of signed photos that obviously Eric had signed on behalf of them both, I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
Morecambe and Wise and old black and white ones from the ITV tour of the kind. I mean, it was incredible. Oh, and the the sheepskin coat that Eric came out of Harefield Hospital.
Yeah.
When he
Oh
had
yes,
the eye
yes,
patch
yeah.
with the
Okay.
hat on it. I mean, that was even there. It was,
Wow.
And they've
Yeah.
been incredibly supportive, and they're lovely, lovely people, you know, and they're so supportive and encouraging. And Gary came the other night. He was, you know, he was bowled over. There's a lovely story when we did Edinburgh. We tried to get in contact with the family. We failed dismally. We couldn't get in touch, and they thought we were just another tribute act, so trying to be Morecambe wise, and quite rightly. And then it went really well in Edinburgh, and they heard through the national press, with the Daily Mail and all sorts of things. So Gary came up to have a look at these two imposters, and he came up, and we heard that Gary Morecambe had booked a ticket. So after the show, we got a standing ovation. The show went really well, standing ovation. As the audience filed out, we came from behind, and there was Gary Morecambe and two young girls, about 25, 26. And as we came out, they said, "Can we just say that's the best thing we've seen in Edinburgh? It was amazing. It was we learned so much about Morecambe. Why it's the best show. Thank you, thank." And as they walked out, Gary said, "Did you pay them to say that?" And we did, didn't we, Jonty? We paid them.
Yeah, we did.
We paid them both. Yes. So that was the start of our relationship with Gary. Then we went for a drink with him, and he said, "Look, guys, I kind of came to close you down because we didn't know who you were." Blah blah. And he went. And then he said, "It took me back to being 12 years old in my tweed jacket, watching Dad and Uncle Ernie." And that was it. We're off. You know.
Yeah. Wonderful. What do you think, Eric and Ernie, Morecambe Wise? What do you think they'd have made of the success of yourselves, this show?
I asked Gary at the Garrett Theatre in the West End after the show, actually, when we were having like drinks afterwards. And I said, "What do you think your dad and Ernie would have made of this?" He said, "I think they'd have been quite thrilled. Slightly couldn't quite believe that it was still making people laugh, and there's this huge affection for Eric and Ernie. But I think the only reason we're still doing it is because people do want to see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's you know, and maybe
the biggest compliment to them and yourself.
Yes. The name Morecambe, Eric and Ernie is right. They're coming to see the comedy of Morecambe Wise because they feel comfortable watching it as well. You know, when they did when they were younger. But it has been phenomenal. The appeal.
Well, the show is doing great, going great guns on tour at the moment. You keep it nice and busy, spreading the joy throughout the country. You're coming to the Royal in Derngate in Northampton very, very soon in June. You come to it's actually in that beautiful Royal Auditorium at the Royal in Derngate.
Fantastic,
as well.
yes.
I do urge you, if you're a Morecambe and Wise fan from all those years ago, or even if you're new to go and see the show. These guys are absolutely wonderful. royalandurngate.co.uk. You can get your tickets online there. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking your time to chat to us here on HFM. And but more importantly, thank you for continuing to bring the sunshine. We really do appreciate that. You know what I'm going to finish this section off, don't you? Shall we cue it up? Bring me sunshine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And as I say, good luck with the rest of the tour. Cheers, guys.
Do we get paid now? Do we get paid now? Or
checks in the post.
What
did you think? What did you think of the interview so far?
Rubbish.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.